So, welcome to another episode of The World According to, and joining me today all the way from America is the amazing Kathryn McClatchy of Unleashing the Next Chapter. So without further ado, I will hand over to Kathryn so she can introduce herself better than I just did and tell you more about her amazingness.
Oh, well, I think amazingness is very generous, but I'm going to take all the pats I can at the moment. So I'm Kathryn McClatchy. I'm coming to you from Texas, and I have started Unleashing the Next Chapter. It began as my tagline for my website, and it has since grown into a business. So it's not only my tagline and my business title, but it's really my mission statement, because I am on a mission to help other businesses, other creative entrepreneurs and nonprofits unleash their next chapter and to build on what they have already started and to make it better and to serve their communities and their clients more efficiently. So I do social media management, social media marketing, as well as I'm a writer, as well as I'm a public speaker. And I'm multi-passionate. I love teaching Bible. I love coaching professionals. And basically you start me talking and you'll have to cut time. So yeah, it's a kind of multi-passionate 5-pronged business plan, and it allows me to follow my interests as well as use 30 years of experience in marketing and education and coaching and studying the women of the Bible. So I love working with women's ministries. I love working with female entrepreneurs, and I love working with creative people, helping them unleash their next chapter.
I love it. And what a perfect time as well to be encouraging people to unleash their next chapter. So for those that aren't aware, we're recording this right in the height of the COVID-19 coronavirus. Kathryn very kindly taken time out of her day to talk to us. So with that in mind, could you tell us how Corona is impacting your business right now? We know it's impacting the world, but as well as your business directly, those that you're working with, because obviously everyone's in a state of flux right now.
That's a huge question.
Mm.
So going into, I'm not sure if our timelines matched up. I think in Europe, you're ahead of us a little bit. But March 15th was my last day out. They were kind of encouraging people to keep a distance and that this might be an issue. And my birthday was the 13th, and we met up with our kids. I have adult children, and we went to the movies and then came home, and that was the last time I was out of the house. But the weekend after that, we had been planning for a year, an organization that I am on the board of directors for, as well as I do all the marketing. And I was scheduled to speak 3 times over the course of the weekend. This is an event that draws 300 to 500 writers in North Texas. And again, a whole year's worth of planning, and we were shut down 10 days beforehand because our venue was a public university that basically said, we can't do this, we're shutting down for everybody's safety. And again, we respected and appreciated that decision. But what a pop of our balloon, because a whole year, and this was our 4th annual event that we had been working towards, and it was my personal big marketing push. I speak, I schedule events off of this, I build my newsletter and my email list, and I find clients through this event. So this was a huge thing for me. But the flip side being, when they said we can't do this, I'm the online marketing person for this organization, and I sat up all night, and I'm like, I'm not giving up that easy. And the next day I contacted the board of directors and I said, what about we take this online? And they're like, yeah, no, we can't do that. And we've got 9 days. And I said, I think maybe I can. And will you back my play if I start figuring this out? And they're like, go for it. And you could just see their eyes rolling back in their head like they were humoring me to make this happen. And fortunately, you and I are part of a mastermind group that has amazing resources. And I put a quick note out to the group and I said, okay, is anybody else dealing with this? How do I take this online? And within an hour, I had 20 different people respond, say, either asking me very useful useful questions or giving me very useful advice. And then one sweet woman who has spent her life doing online summits for the last 15 years said, I have an hour, let me talk you through this. And she got on the phone with me from California and talked me through. Fast forward, we took that whole event and we converted it into a 3-day online summit using Zoom for our presentations, using Instagram for all of our advertising and promoting our speakers and promoting our exhibitors. We used Twitter to create a word writing related Jeopardy game, and we gave out prizes, and we brought in people that didn't know about the conference, because now it's an international conference because we're online, and we charged nothing for it, and our speakers donated their time. We had over 13 expert speakers, so it ended up being a very successful thing. We did writing sprints on Facebook, and we used our Facebook to give out the information that was needed. So instead of a loss, this ended up being a huge win. And because I sucked it up and muscled through it, it was kind of a feather in my cap, and it was a great way. I didn't get to do my presentations. I was supposed to give 3 presentations. I gave 1, but at the same time, everybody's like, Kathryn made this happen. So it was great marketing in a roundabout way to do that. So that helped. But 3 other of my speaking engagements have been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
A number of my clients for marketing are like leading with fear instead of faith and facts. And they're saying, you know, we don't feel like we can afford to do advertising or pay you at this point, even though, Vicki, it's crazy to me because through COVID, the usage of Facebook alone is up 50 to 60% of what it was this time last month. And the advertising rates are dropping ridiculously low because nobody's advertising. So the rate per click is so much better than it was. So I'm trying to tell my clients, if you want to market yourself, now's the time. You're not going to get a better advertising rate. And I'm old school newspaper woman. So I was selling advertising when it was by the column inch, and you based your rates on the publication, how many people subscribed to your newspaper. So I'm looking at these click rates, and I'm looking at the price per reach, and I'm thinking, folks, if you're going to double down, now is the time. So on one hand, the COVID thing has really stunted what I intended to do, but it's also provided some intriguing opportunities, and it's allowed me to stretch my wings in areas that I thought I could, but I didn't need to prior to this. So yeah, it's pluses and minuses, and I'm just trying to go forward in faith and build what I've got going right now.
And I really like that there are 2 big key topics there for me that you highlighted, and I think it's a lot of what business owners and non-business owners are struggling with now. Is all of these things we might have had planned, we've been preparing for, that we can't do in a certain way. But actually the highlighting opportunities, as you said with the conference, that's gone from something relatively local to an international conference now, because you've been able to put it online. You've all reached so many more people than you would have done had you have kept it in-house. And again, with the marketing point you've made, I've been speaking to a lot of business owners about how they don't feel they can build their business now. They've got no income coming in. But I think a lot of people are forgetting that actually now's the time to build brand awareness. It's to remind the customers you did have, and all of those new customers, who you are, what you stand for, and how you're going to help them through this, but in a different way. So I love that you've picked that up as well, and about that investment that we as business owners might need to make, we will get back.
Exactly. And now's the time to do a lot of those building things that don't cost, you know, reimagine your brand, reimagine how you want your business to look going forward, because this is, for a lot of businesses, it's a stop pause, you know. So rather than being a full stop, let's just pause and breathe and imagine, you know, 3 months from now, what do we want our businesses to look like? What do we want our nonprofits to look like? What do we want our clientele to look like, our ideal client? Have we grown in our business? I think sometimes, you know, we get going in our businesses and we keep doing what we're doing, and we don't realize that we've changed, that our interests have changed, that our clients' needs have changed. And I think this is a really good opportunity, even if you don't have the money or the income coming in, to do some of those deep thinking tasks that don't cost money right now. I had set a goal for myself to rebrand and to rebuild my website in the first quarter of 2020. Now, because of all the new opportunities and crazy work that I've had over the last 3 weeks, not as much paid work as I would like to have, but I've had a lot of opportunities to build good relationships and to barter and to help build other businesses and to build karma points, if you will. So I think that's as valuable also. Even when our clients aren't, ready to spend the money, we can use this as an opportunity to teach and train and prepare them to come. Okay, I'm in Texas, so think rodeo. We're loading the cattle into the chute, and I want them to come out bucking when those gates fly open.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm working towards.
And I think, I mean, I know you personally, so I know you're actually really smashing through with that, and you're such an inspiration to me and many others as well. And I think you're a great example of how challenges can be turned around on their head, both in your personal life and business as well. And I think you've already touched on it about what the biggest challenges are in this period, but can you explain as well how you're getting through these? So those challenges that do come up, what have you changed in terms of how you manage them to how you would have done, say, in February?
Okay, so we were talking ahead of time. So in addition to more chocolate and more alcohol, no, Texas there's a lot of dry areas, but I love the British culture. So yeah, I'm looking for excuses to drink. No, I'm teasing. I think what I'm doing differently, I think, is I'm taking a lot more time to think through not only my challenges, but my ideal clients' challenges. So I don't know if you've talked, I assume you've talked with your clients about building that client avatar and the ideal client that you're reaching out to. But I've really doubled down on looking at, is the ideal client that I was working for at the end of 2019 the same ideal client I want to work with moving forward? And in my case, I have actually expanded my brand. I am a writer. I love writing fiction and creative nonfiction, but I'm also a marketing person, and I love writing copy and content, and I like teaching writers craft of writing. I was a college professor teaching English and rhetoric and literature and composition prior to my strokes. And now I really enjoy working with writers and creative professionals. But prior to that, I was in marketing for years. And I think education is a lot of marketing as well, because you are convincing, especially high school students, that they need this information and they will use it, and they do need to read, The Tale of Two Cities, whether they want to or not. So there was a lot of marketing skills that I used as a high school teacher and a college professor. So I think I'm talking around your question, but I really think just reevaluating what I'm doing and how I want to move forward is the main coping skill, because I cannot focus on all the negativity around me. And my husband is a like LPC, that's a licensed practical counselor, and or licensed professional counselor here in Texas. I don't know what your designations are, but he's dealing with a lot of folks that are really fearful and really depressed and are having anxiety issues, and those that are already sensitive to any type of mental illness are really kind of having issues right now. And I'm not belittling the crisis or in any way making less of it. I think it's very real, but I also think once you've done all you can do, dwelling on the negative isn't going to get you any further. So my way of coping is looking at, okay, I'm doing the self-quarantining thing. I'm washing my hands. I'm making sure that, I'm not interacting with anybody any more than I have to. I'm taking my vitamins. I'm drinking enough water. I'm doing the things.
Yeah.
And after I've done the things, let's focus on the next step. There's no sense watching the same news feed over and over and over, because that's not going to get me closer to my goals. That's just going to, hurt my heart. So I'm focusing on what I can control, and focusing on, how I want to be as a human, as well as a business owner, as well as a servant to my community after this is over, because there will be an after. It may not look like what it did in January, but we're going to move forward, and I want to come out stronger than before.
Yeah. And like, I think this is why you and I align so well. So like, I mean, my strap line by now is like, take action, do the things, see the results. We
Right,
get to
right.
decide what those results are.
And I wish I had written down the numbers. I heard a speaker yesterday talking about historically, after the Great Depression, after the big recession of 2008, after World War II, after 9/11, after all these big, huge things, the people that focused on building their business and marketing during the hard times are the ones who succeeded and became stronger after the fact. And yes, our world was very different after all of those events, but it's the human condition. There's always a transition, be it good or bad. There's always, births and deaths and marriages and divorces and new companies and old companies, and you grow, you develop, you be what you aspire to be.
Yeah, we move on, don't we? We grow, as you say. Key word there. So Kathryn, so much value in such a short time there with our conversation, but if people want to benefit more from your amazingness, then you can't deny that now. Can you tell us the best places to find you, so social media and that website that you mentioned?
So I am I'm a social media consultant. I'm on all of it. No, I really try to limit myself. You may or may not know, there's over 168 social media platforms at last count. I say over because there's probably more that I'm not aware of, but 168 social media platforms. Seriously. I'm on the top 10, Kathryn McClatchy. And then my website is kathrynmcclatchy.com, KATHRYN, McClatchy, MCCLATCHY. Or you can Google Unleashing the Next Chapter. I'm the only one. There is a Kathy McClatchy, and she is one of the founders and board members of McClatchy Publishing. That's not me, it's a distant relative, if we play the genealogy. But if you look for Kathryn McClatchy, you will find me.
Brilliant. And I'll pop those links in the comments below. And lastly, before I let you go, can you tell me what your number one survival tip would be, both now during Corona/COVID and for normal life?
Business or personal?
Ooh, hit me with both.
Personal, I'm a person of prayer and faith. So I can't function without my personal relationship with God, with Jesus. I'm a Christian. So that's the number one way I get through. But I also think that's probably my business survival tip, because I use those biblical principles in designing and running my business. And I really try to treat others as I want to be treated. I don't believe that you earn respect. I respect you because that's who I am. I am a respectful person. So I think that's a good, healthy way to run your business. And for me, it's how I sleep well and look myself in the mirror.
Brilliant. That's really great. And thank you for all of that, Kathryn. And again, really big thank you for adjusting your day and joining us, given there's a huge time difference.
And thank you for staying up, because this is my prime time, and I know you're shutting down for the night. So I thank you too for working with me.
No, it's always a pleasure, and we will definitely be having you back here again.
Yay, I'd love to get to know your community better too. So I love that social media and technology has allowed the world to shrink, and we can learn more.
Brilliant. Right, and I will let you go for now, but thank you.
Thank you.